Why are I not? Welcome, everybody. We're going to give it just a moment as we're getting everything lined up here. All right. So I am very excited. Wait, hold on. Sorry. My screen is doing something funny. Let's get this right. There we go. Hi, my name is Zahra Indigo Ronlove, and I am super excited to be here today for this edition of Wisdom Talks. I have been doing this now this is our 7th month, and each month I've had the honor to meet with a different amazing human being from this planet Earth, and today is no exception. I've been exploring in my life this notion of wisdom and truth. And I thought, what better way to do that than to have these conversations with these amazing individuals and to hear from different people about what wisdom and truth is. So today I would like to welcome Mindahi Crescencio Bastida Munoz to this July's Wisdom Talk. Mindahi is the Sacred Sites Ceremonialist for the Center for Sacred Studies and the Director of Original Nations Program for the Fountain. He has been the director of the Original Caretakers Program for the Center for Earth Ethics and Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York, and the general coordinator for the Otomi Toltec Regional Council in Mexico. He is a caretaker of the philosophy and tradition of the Otomi Toltec peoples and has been an Otomi Toltec ritual ceremony officer since 1988. Mindahi was born in Tultepec, Lerma, Mexico. He holds a doctorate of rural development from the Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana, I think I got that, in Mexico. He has written on the relationship between the state and indigenous peoples, intercultural education, collective intellectual property rights, and associated traditional knowledge, among many other topics. Mindahi, I am very grateful to have you join me today for this month's Wisdom Talks. And I would be so honored if you could bless us with a prayer.
Brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to Sarah Indigo, Ron Love, and for your presence in this beautiful day. I'm going to bless this gathering around wisdom and truth. So let me to say some words, sacred words in my language, and then open this beautiful gathering. Na yoho hiu. Tokaramete Uzaki, Tokaramete Moi, Hamadi Makimu, Hamadi Makita, Tingua, Tine Kionkichi, da para Amazon, Tine Kionkichi Guarara, La Canton, Tine Kionkichi, da Shimahoy, Atacama, Nihmewa, Dinikyun Kikichi, La Mestli Shitliko, La Meña, Nisewa Kikichi, Sikwala La Chilcotin, Shusho, Iropa, Hopi, Dinikyun Kiki, Siku Raramuri, Dinikyun Kikichi, La Nihmewa, Nisewa Kikichi, La Meña, Chisunchi, Nihmewa. With the permission of the four sacred directions and the four corners at the center in the world, with the permission of the sacred being of the Tlanchana, the mermaid, in this Zambata Valley, the Valley of the Moon, where I was born, and also with the permission of the sacred volcanoes of central Mexico, of the Xinantecat, the Popocatépetl, Iztaccíhuatl. We are here today, in this beautiful day, with the rain, but also the fires, telling us that Mother Earth is alive and Father Sky is speaking. Today we came here thinking about how we are here today as human beings before other relatives. So during this day we are greeting the ancestral civilizations, ancestral nations of Africa, of Asia, Europe, the Arctic, and the Americas, bringing together this consciousness that we are still here and will be here. Will we continue being here for the sake of life and for the sake of future generations to come. And today we are greeting and we are very grateful to bring together these words, to share the flourish words. Kamadi Makimu, Kamadi Makita, thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, Mother Earth, for allowing us to be here during this time, during this space. And remembering that we're here today for a sacred purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindahi. Thank you, Mindahi. Thank you, Mindahi. I always feel like I arrive into this time and place when I hear your prayer and hear your blessings. So thank you for blessing us today. And as you know, and as I'll share for all of those who are watching in this moment with us, as well as those who will be joining us in our future time, once you're watching us in that future time, it'll be your now time, just to honor that truth of time. Today, what we are here to do is explore these questions. What is wisdom? What is truth? How do we find wisdom and access truth in these very complicated times? So Mindahi, I just invite you to enter into these questions and begin to share with us your wisdom about what these mean to you.
Thank you, Indigo. And greetings to all of you, to the audience. And I can see that there's beautiful people in this gathering, like Janet Parker. It's so nice to see you again around, Janet, and many others that are here with us today. And those who are going to watch this message. With the permission of the Great Spirit and the ancestors and the Señor del Rayo, the being of the Thunderbolt, in the origins of the cosmos, in the very origins, there was light and darkness. In that origins, there is balance, but it's always there is creation, which we call the mystery in between. So at that time, everything was in balance when we were just tiny beings. And every expression of life came from that origin. So there was wisdom from the beginnings. And we know that in between, we see day and light, day and night, the dark. We know that there are special hours, and that we are conceived as other seeds, even those seeds that are minerals, rocks, other mammals, other animals, and even those plants that genetically are very alike with us, like the corn. And we are a produce of light and darkness. For the seed to come up, to be flourished, has to go to the dark. But we forgot how to behave and be in balance. We forgot about that principle of the origins. To live in harmony, to live in responsibility, to live in reciprocity. So for us, what is wisdom? Wisdom is the light that brings us to the good decisions to carry out accordingly to the time and space that we are living through. Wisdom is also the path that we are taking every single day in a good way. But there was a time around 7,000 years ago, almost 8,000 years ago, when many cultures and many beings used to live in this beautiful planet. So we are the reflection of that wisdom. We live in this beautiful Mother Earth, and everything is evolving. The matter is evolving, and the spirit is evolving. Thoughts are evolving. But people began to lose that direction, that path, and began, instead of taking care, they began to take over. And that was the problem, because the problem is when the greed arrived to human minds, human thoughts, and that
Mindahi, you've frozen. In this moment, I just want to take a moment to honor the technology that allows us to meet in this way. Give blessings to that technology and all it takes for us to stream from around the world. So let's see if we can get him unfrozen. Ah, he has jumped off for a moment. So let's, oh, there you're back. Okay. You're muted, Mindahi.
Yes, as I thought your Padre Sky is speaking, it's raining so much. And you know, it's a message. As I was telling you, wisdom is, for us, is the light that brings us the good decision-taking processes as human beings, and other beings are also living accordingly to the original instructions, original principles, how to live in peace and harmony among human beings and among all beings. So what is truth? Truth is related to wisdom because it's to carry out things in a very mindful way with consciousness, with cosmos consciousness, because we believe that the individual cannot exist without this touch for community. We are collective beings. The rocks are collective beings. Everything is interconnected. So from that perspective, truth is also light. There cannot be light or truth without truth, and truth without light. Because in such a way that brings you to a place where you have to carry out some actions, you need to really understand that this is not just for you. It comes from you, from inside to the universe, and to the universe to inside. But we are not alone. That's the reason we have the sense of we, not the sense of I. The sense of I kills wisdom. The sense of I just kills the truth. And you know, now many individuals are just carrying out, taking decisions based on greed. And that's why always this is creating so many problems. Individuals who are just trying to take over and not take care, or corporations or institutions or nation states that want to domain others and domain nature and domain beings are affecting not just what we see, but what we don't see, the spiritual world. So when we talk about truth, we talk about light. We talk about taking good decisions in such a way that when we carry out something, first of all, we need to think that we are not alone. We are in the collective way of being for the beginning. So now that we know that thoughts are very important when we carry out something in the world, we need to also bring those thoughts to actions. But it's not enough. It's not enough that connection with thoughts and actions. We need to bring also feelings, because there might be some truth around that action if you carry out just because you are responsible, but it's not enough. We need to bring those feelings to our lives, and feelings are very important, meaning that you and me and everybody who can carry out some actions, we need to bring those feelings to really complete complete the actions that we carry out. So we are interconnected in that decision process or those actions. Meaning, in other words, that whatever you think, whatever you carry out, is good, is with good feelings, with love. But also, what you carry out, you need to bear in mind, and we need to bear in mind that you don't affect negatively. We affect in a positive way. So that's the reason responsibility about our talents are so important. And wherever we are, wherever we give the voice or the words or the actions, is so important that we connect with others. And truth is not just simple thing. It's a complex way of living, a complex way of thinking, a complex way of feeling. So we as individuals, we need to rethink our place in the world, our even where we are living in as nation states, but mostly about how we live in peace and harmony in our territories. Because this is the time for us to bear in mind that we are living through difficult times. We are living now in a time that the climate crisis is affecting life systems. But there is also a spiritual crisis. There is also a very important message from our ancestors, because who we are is thanks to the lineages that we inherited. So we are the reflection of our ancestors and the reflection of the sacred, that sacred balance, that sacred wisdom. We need to recover the way of living, the way of feeling, and the way of acting with responsibility. And now, more than ever, with original principles. Because reciprocity is so important in our lives. We don't have to just always take and take and take. We have to give back. One of the elders were saying, how much do you pay for the air you breathe? Most of the time, we just take it for granted. But it's a being. It's a sacred element, the air, the oxygen that we breathe. And it's interconnected with the sea and Father Sky and the world of Mother Earth. That's the reason we also have in ourselves the reflection of the air. And also, how much do we pay for the waters that come from the sky? We are talking about not material payment. We are talking about the spiritual payment. And how much we
You're frozen again, Mindahi. Mindahi, with all the water coming from your eye, I think it's giving some challenge with the connection. There you are. Perfect.
Thank you. Sorry for that. It's raining so much. The thunders and the light, the power went off. It's just I'm using my data. So, so what can we do during these times? These times are very crucial. These times are very important because in May 13, 2013, the long count of the Mayan calendar ended together with the Ottoman and Aztec calendar. From that date until May 3rd, 2026, there are 13 years. And we are said that we have 13 years of rethinking our place and our responsibilities in the world. How can we remember who we are as human beings? We are just another species. We are not the peak of the creation. We have relatives, animal, plants, the minerals, Father Sky and other planets. We are travelers in the world. We are travelers in the cosmos. How can we remember who we are? What kind of creatures we are as human beings? Why we are here? Why we have forgotten the original instructions and the original principles? So we need to recall for ancestral wisdom and the wisdom that is being created nowadays because of this crisis that we are living through is calling to raise the consciousness of every one of us, to recover the sense of we. And of course, we don't leave the sense of I, but it's not that important. It's more important than sense of we, if we want to make it, if we want to grow and to encounter the new dawn. Because as individuals, we cannot survive. We cannot go through the good living. We are being called by Mother Earth and the sacred elements. And we are calling Father Grandpa Fire. We call Tata Hyadi, Father Son. Very old, from the origins. Sacred fire. We really need to think about how to recover that sacred connection with the fire. If we want to recall ancestral wisdom to face this civilizational crisis, is key. Is one of the key points that we need to carry out as human beings. Because now, this is the time to recover human dignity, to live in peace and harmony with nature, with ourselves, with other beings. And recall that we are not the only ones who have personhood. All beings, the mountains, the rivers, the creeks, the clouds, the sea, all they are energy and they have spirit. They have the right to live in this beautiful place in Mother Earth. So how this wisdom can help us during these times? for the beginning to recover this dignity and recover families, recover communities, and to live in peace and dignity with Mother Earth and our brothers and sisters. Acknowledge that unity is possible in the diversity. And actually, the diversity is full of colors, full of flavors, and everyone is important to be in this world. Because just remember, there is no rainbow if one color is lacking. And the 4 directions are so important that come to the center and to the center to the 4 directions. So the 4 colors that represent human beings are also important. No one on top of the other, but in harmony, in peace. So this is the time. The time is to live, listening and learning ourselves. Take our capacities and the capacity building to learn from each other, because we are facing the same kind of crisis. And remember that original nations we have, that original wisdom that we have been keeping for millennia. We just need to understand, acknowledge, and put in place that wisdom that we have to carry out the good thinking, beautiful thinking. That's one of the new messages that our brothers, elder brothers, and ancestral Mamos and Cogis and the people from the Sierra Nevada, Santa Marta, and the people from the Otomí Toltec, through spiritual consultations and are telling us, think beautifully. What does it mean? It means that when you think beautifully, you are calling for clean ideas. Clean ideas. We are calling for clean ideas to really rebuild our place in the world as human beings. Can you imagine how our elders are feeling when Mother Earth is being attacked, stained, then the air with fossil fuels? Can you imagine how the machines are using these dirty sources, dirty energies? It's killing Mother Earth, it's killing us. We have the capacity to change that narrative. We have the capacity to really stand up with Mother Earth. And whatever we do, whatever we carry out in our lives, we don't just think about ourselves. Think about others. That's the reason one of the most important original principles is precaution, precautionary principle. Now, during these modern days, is science and precaution. Before you carry out something, you need to think how you are going to affect others, if positive or negative. But if you are in the sense of we, you cannot kill others or stain the minds of others or kill others. So brothers and sisters and colleagues, we are bringing ancestral wisdom to modern days. One of the most beautiful principles is reciprocity. We cannot just take without giving back. And not always the same person who from where you received, or not always from the place you received something. You can wave other histories, other actions in motion, so you can flourish and your lineage can flourish. And as human beings, we can flourish and we can meet intergenerational equity, where we are delivering to future generations. What kind of heart, what kind of feelings we are delivering? What kind of thoughts we are delivering? What kind of instructions we are also receiving and delivering to the future generations? For that, I recall for another principle, which is love. And love is an energy. There cannot be truth without love. Truth is a light, and light is love. Whatever you move from your inside and your thoughts and your actions, the full or the power of love can transform this beautiful way of doing. That's the reason we are calling for the good living. And good living is, at the same time, is a big responsibility, but it's at the same time is so simple. Let it go, all those great feelings, and be in service to your community, be in service to your family, be in service to yourself, and honor the matter that was given to you. Because that's your responsibility in this world. How you are encountering your matter, how you are encountering your living person to live in community, to live with others. And that's very beautiful when you encounter this balance and this way of being in this world. It's so beautiful. Because then this eyes, this figure is encountering the beauty of life. From inside to the cosmos, and to the cosmos from to inside. So love Mother Earth with all her beings. Love the cosmos, because Mother Earth is not alone. There's Father Sky, there's the great star Venus, Grandma Moon, another family. And we have big families. But for the beginning, let's begin with us from inside. Our taking care, giving care to this body and to this mind, to the energy that we are carrying out. Honor this matter. Love this matter. So you can reflect that love to others. So, many scientists are saying that it's not possible to really make it because we have misbehaved so much. We have taken this dominion so much far that we can not recover that sacred relationship with nature. And science is saying that. Science is saying that this climate crisis, which is called climate change, is affecting everything, everywhere. Not because you go from here to another country, climate change has been stopped. No, it's affecting all and everything. Many species are being lost. Cultures, biocultures are being lost. Scientists are saying that 150 to 200 species are being lost per day. 1 million species are at risk. In between that 1 million, human beings. It depends upon us how we want to encounter this new calendar, this new dawn. It depends on us how responsible we are. For that, we need to act in truth, in light, and recover our place in this world. Have you imagined how other beings are just carrying out their duties? Every day when I wake up, I hear the birds, I feel the earth, I see how the wind goes and the father sun comes up and then Grandma Moon comes. They are doing what they have to do. They are carrying out their duties, their responsibilities. What are we doing as human beings? I can tell you, at least for the original nations, we are carrying out what we were set. Not without problems, because greed has arrived to our communities as well. And we are in that danger, but still we have something to share with you. As you have heard, 80% of the most beautiful biodiversity in this world is still in indigenous and original nations territories. Do you know why? And it's a lot of work to carry out that mission, that responsibility. It's a lot of work. And we are not just tired, we are happy for doing that. And we are going to continue doing that. But it's not just our responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility. But we are not just taking care about that 80% biodiversity in the world, the so-called hotspots. We are taking care and giving care for the whole biodiversity in the world. We are praying for the whole world, for Mother Earth. I know that some of you are doing that. You are praying also to, not just for survival, for the good living that we are praying and we are acting. So what do we have to do during these times? As I told you, recover our dignity as human beings and change every single wrongdoings that we have been carrying out. For the beginning, how we eat, how we take decisions in the daily life. And if your individual way of being is affecting negatively to others, change. If your organization or your centers or your place where you are working is affecting negatively to Mother Earth and nature or others, be changed. If your nation state is still trying to take over other nations and exert dominion, you have to change. Every institution has to change if they are affected in their decision-taking processes or their doings. We must change and recover dignity and recover our place in the world. So you see that wisdom is not easy. Wisdom is responsibility. Wisdom is the light that we are bringing from the origins in order to behave and carry out actions through feelings and through thoughts in good results for the care of life. Brothers and sisters, when we are talking about truth, we are talking about our place in the world in a collective way. No individual can do it without others. But of course, we can do it from our hearts. So this is the time to really rethink our place in the world. And at least bear in mind that every day is a beautiful day. My grandfather used to tell me, wake up, with Father Son before he comes. At noon, also give thanks for this beautiful day, even if it's cloudy. If you don't see Father Son, it's a beautiful day. Life is in motion. Life is moving. And the feathers can also feel that. At dusk, when you say goodbye to Father Son and you receive the great mystery of night, there is also power in there. You give thanks. Simple things. That's responsibility to be aware in this world. To be aware who you are, who we are in this world. Then the reconnection begins. And then you begin to think, where do I come from? What is my lineage? What is my family? What is my peoples? What is my territory? And even if you have moved from one place to another, you got responsibilities. Because the landscapes are speaking as well, the beings, the lies, the entities, the deities are speaking. And the Great Spirit as we call Matignu, sound in the silence. Sound in the silence. It's flourishing all time. So this is a very complicated time that we are living through, but it's also a great opportunity to be here, to share with you, to share with others, and just to see each other, and to see and to feel and to really walk in the beauty of life. Then we can transcend. Then we can deliver to the future generations, and not just to the future generations, but to the future beings. Because what kind of generations we are delivering to Mother Earth and to the celestial bodies? It's our responsibility. And the responsibility is every second, every hour, every day, every year, every century, every millennium. It's our responsibility. And our duty is to remember that and to act in accordance, accordingly. Because we can easily deviate our intentions, our attentions, because it's much easier to forget and not to do what we are meant to do. But remember that we are here for a purpose. It's our belief, it's our truth that we are here for the care of life, the Kamadi. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindahi. Tikamati. Just take a moment and receive that wisdom and those truths that you brought. Listen to the sound in the silence. There are so many gems of wisdom that you shared with us today. And some things that I'm holding is this notion of the sacred territories and the deep gratitude I have for all the original peoples who have been caring for this land and the diversity, the biodiversity of the land for so long. And it's time, I believe, that we all begin to see all the land as sacred and finding ways to nurture the land where we are, whether it's in the depths of a city or whether it's in the country or in the depths of the jungle, to see the earth is sacred, feel the breath as sacred as we drink the water or bathe in the water or gaze upon the rivers and the oceans, to know that it is sacred and that we are sacred. I'm struck, Mindahi, by this notion of intergenerational equity, this truth that what we do today is leaving our essence for tomorrow, right? That I am the ancestor. The ancestors aren't just those that came before me, but that I am an ancestor. And what ancestor am I being for the future ones? So these truths are so important. I'm wondering, we have just a few minutes, and I'm wondering if anyone who's on here live with us has any questions or any comments for Mindahi. You can raise your hand or type it in the box. There was a lot that we received today. Janet, go ahead. You can bring your video on if you would like, or just ask your question.
I'm trying to start my video, but it's not working.
Here, I can do that maybe on this end.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Mindahi, it is beautiful, beautiful to see you. I am so delighted that for whatever reason you came into my consciousness 2 days ago, and I started looking for you, and I found that this was happening today, and I'm so glad I was able to be present. Thank you, Zara. Thank you for wisdom calls. Thank you, Mindahi, for your wisdom again. And it just, I really, it's just, I don't have a very specific thing to say. It's just my heart is very full of gratitude for you and your spirit in the world and the way the ancestors speak through you and reach out through you, and the way your people are speaking through you and reaching out through you, and all the work that you and Geraldine and so many others are doing in this world. And I find myself being challenged to push even deeper in my own heart to see again. I feel like I always come back to the question of how I, as a non-Indigenous person, can connect with and support those of you who are carrying those original instructions and the the through line of the indigenous wisdom that so many of us have forgotten. And so coming out of a very different culture and religious tradition, I'm challenged to look for the connecting points that can be that bridge, that spiritual and cultural bridge that can help my people cross over to the life of harmony and beauty and truth and wisdom that you so beautifully have laid out before us today. So I feel your spirit through the technology that we share, and just want to give you thanks for letting yourself be a channel of wisdom and of light and truth that the world needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you for your words. And I do hear a question in there. And that question, and tell me if I'm getting it. The question is, how do we bridge? How do we bridge to these original principles? How can we live in this new way without appropriating someone else's culture, and at the same time living in a way that is in harmony and reciprocity with the earth and with each other? And Dahi, what would you say to that?
Yes, thank you, dear Janet. It's so nice to see you, as I told you. Blessings to you and to your family.
Thank you.
To your territory. For the beginning, we always say that we must acknowledge where we live. We must acknowledge always the peoples and the beings around us, and the spiritual and important sacred sites around, because there is an interconnection all over the world, and we can feel it. So that interconnection begins with the place you are, acknowledging the ancestors that lived before you were there. When we call ancestors, it's not just human beings, it's the beings in the mountains, the wetlands, the rivers, the valleys. So that's important to acknowledge the original names, the original peoples, the original entities. So for the beginning, it's very important. Everywhere around the world, where we go, we enter in a sacred way. Even if you don't mention with words, with your intention in thoughts, it's very important. So then, it's like a fuel. When you carry out this acknowledgement, it's like a fuel that you are getting in. It's an energy, special energy. When we meet each other, we can talk more easily. Even if you talk in another language, there is another language, a bigger language that we all share. When you communicate with the other animals, with the flowers, with the stars, that's what it is. And that connection brings you to some actions and to some reactions that we need to carry out together, because we are living a common problem now. So in some cases, we really need support. Not just the spiritual support, but the material support. Because, you know, like in the Amazon now, the bill 490 that is being voted during these days with the Bolsonaro government are trying to take over again, and they don't want more demarcations in indigenous lands, because they want to carry out some or to give concessions to carry out logging and mining and so on and so forth. So sometimes we need political and economic support at the time. So this is what it is, but we also need intercultural dialogue. interfaith dialogue. Because we need to be acknowledged as we acknowledge you with your institutions, with your religions. We need also this exchange and this value that we can create together in the diversity. For open gatherings in this region can help us a lot. And to recover our sacred relics, sacred objects, to really carry out the work we have to carry. So for that, we need political and economic support as well, even social support. So thank you so much for this question.
Thank you. Thank you. Very helpful.
So as we come to the end, I just want to acknowledge Anita, who says gratitude, Mindahi. The wisdom is felt deeply within her heart. She doesn't have any specific questions, but to say that this has been appreciated as great truth. And that equals you, that you've brought this great truth. And Sophie had a question about how to find family, and I think I just heard the answer to that question in what you just shared. And so, Sophie, I hope that that spoke to you. And if there's more that you need to hear, we can help bridge you to get this question of how do you find your family, right? In this world where many of us have been disconnected from our lineages, you know, the original peoples that I came from, that there was decolonization that happened to me and my family. So we will circle around and answer more to that. If you have last words, I know we are pushing our time, but if you're okay to speak into that, you know, how to find family, that would be appreciated.
Well, for the beginning, I just want to be thankful for those questions, because it's not easy. We have to open our hearts and really be mindful about forgiveness. Sometimes, you know, it's difficult to gather in family, but we need to open our hearts. And even more, we, you know, we have big families in the original nations, and family is also the dog. So family is also the core. Family is also what we plant. The seeds are family. But how you encounter them? With love, with very good thinking, beautiful thinking, and that we come to a place where we can balance feelings and actions in such a way that we understand each other and we can produce something new that is old. That energy that keeps us in this world in peace and in harmony. Because peace is not just to be quiet. No, peace is a lot of work. It's action. And peace, in order to arrive to peace, you have to work a lot with feelings, with deliverings, with payments as well, giving and receiving. Because we also need to think about how to receive. Sometimes we don't want to receive. We also need to learn how to receive. So family is a gift. I can tell you that here my family is the volcano. If I love the volcano, how am I going to damage the volcano? How am I going to damage my sister, my brother? Even if there is a misunderstanding, we have the intelligence. But more than intelligence, we need the wisdom to carry out the good things with light. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindahi. And so as we come to the end of this hour together, I just am filled with this gratitude for your wisdom and the truth you carried through, for the air that we share, for the waters that move through us and move through this planet, this earth that sustains us, that nourishes us, that provides for us in so many ways that we take for granted. And may we all now reciprocate back to the earth, to the trees, to the volcanoes, to the mountains, right? To this precious planet that is moving through this cosmos. May we as humans sink into this wisdom and truth so that we care for each other and for all of our relations. So thank you again. I am just filled with such gratitude. And I look forward to our next wisdom talks that will be next first Monday of the month in August. I believe it's the 5th. I should know that off the top of my head, but I believe it's the 5th. And we will be meeting with an amazing human named Bruce Lipton, who has quite a lot of wisdom to also share with us. So until next month, thank you for joining in and listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. House. Hi. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.